nominated by Salsa Magazine, has been nominated by Salsa Magazine, has been nominated by Salsa Magazine for the top radio show, Latin Jazz and Radio Show. ¿Quién se lo pensaría que un programita chiquito aquí en Richmond, Virginia, iba a afectar el mundo entero when it comes to Latin jazz and salsa?
Because this is the only place where you listen to the type of music that we play. No hay otra emisora. No hay otro, not on the internet. I've been looking. I sit home and I listen and I go all over and I cannot hear a station like the LatinJazzShow.net.
Mr. David Aponte, let me tell you, what do you got planned for the next La Voz Latina TV show?
Well, we have. Hopefully we can bring some more live acts. Hopefully we're gonna have some new videos from Puerto Rico. We're gonna have a lot of things coming up, and we're gonna keep it a surprise. So everybody be tuned in.
Right on. And I think there's a buzz in the air that the Latin Jazz Show may have 2 shows coming up.
That's right.
There you go. The Latin Jazz Show on TV. On TV in the Richmond Tri-City area. No se lo pierdan. Stay tuned for more information.
That's better than Ustream, you know?
Yeah, well, the only thing with Ustream is that we're worldwide.
All right, well, we're going to be worldwide on TV, too. What's wrong with that?
No, I not.
There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, you just listened to Las Caras Lindas de Mi Gente Negra by the one and only El Sonero Mayor, Maelo Ismael Rivera, singing one of the greatest hits in our culture, one of the greatest hits in Latin jazz or salsa. You are listening to yours truly, the voice of Latin jazz, Sweet Louis Hidalgo, and my main man, El Guido Miguelito Lebrón, trayéndole la mejor de la música latina y la salsa here on WCLM Radio 1450 on your AM dial, or just go to www.thelatinjazzshow.net, thelatinjazzshow.net, for the best of Latin jazz and salsa every Friday from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. for your listening pleasure here on WCLM Radio. Don't forget, if you want to put a face to the voice, go to the LatinJazzShow.net and hit live video and audio, because you can see us live on Ustream TV. ¿Cómo están, mi gente? Ladies and gentlemen, we have a situation going on here in the Richmond Tri-City area. And one of the more important TV stations that the community has at its disposal is public access television. And I was made aware of this by one of our good contributors here on the Latin Jazz Show, Mr. David Aponte, and actually invited me down to co-host with him his show, La Voz Latina, which is a live Latin jazz and salsa TV show and an information show which brings out information to the Latino community. And in doing so, I've gotten the opportunity to meet 2 fantastic gentlemen, Mr. Andueli Gardner and Mr. Akil Muhammad, who are some of the producers and directors of the public access television. And we've gotten some news that Comcast, or the powers that be, are considering turning the station down and not having live broadcasting there anymore. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to do a live forum on this television show, this television station, in order to try to keep the station alive. We touched on many topics. Some of the topics were about the financial process and the financial situation that will prevent us from keeping the public access television alive. Some of the topics were brought in by other listeners who were calling in. We must have had 20 phone calls, who were calling in and saying how much they love public access, that they prefer public access over regular television. And then with Miss Moore, who is one of the veterans there at the public access television station, we came to a conclusion. And that particular conclusion was, it's impossible for Comcast to say they don't have the money. It is impossible for the city of Richmond to say they cannot finance this. So it only leaves one conclusion. The topics, the social political, the social economical topics that are being brought up on this television station are touching certain people, and they don't like what they're hearing. because this is the news and information that you don't hear on CNN, you don't hear on NBC, CBS, or Fox News. You only hear it from the citizens that come out and give their opinion and give their views on public access television. And I give to you Mr. Andwali Gardner and Mr. Akil Muhammad. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for coming down to the Latin Jazz Show.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you, Sweet Lou. Thank you for inviting us.
Akil, you got to get closer. Don't worry, it doesn't have hair. Okay?
Thank you for inviting us.
Okay. Yesterday was a great show.
Yes, it was.
It was a great show. The involvement of the community was fantastic. And I would like to get what your take on this crazy situation where, you know, in other states and other cities, public access television is a fantastic thing. You know, it's top-notch television. Why in the world would the city of Richmond or Comcast want to cut public access television?
Well, actually, public access is threatened across the nation. And I think it started in 2005. All the public access stations under the guidance of, I think it was Alliance for Community Producers, which is a national organization, asked all public access stations to just show snow for 1 minute because all the municipalities and city governments were threatening to shut down public access. So it's a threat across the nation. It's been ongoing for quite some time. So I'm not sure if it's all on Comcast. Part of it is the city council because we pay franchise fees as subscribers. So if anybody wants to look at their cable bill, which most people don't pay attention to, you pay for the rights-of-way fee. You're paying a rights-of-way use fee in order for the city to provide a public access station. So Comcast, all the cable providers, pay this franchise fee in order to broadcast. So that's Cavalier, Comcast, and Verizon.
So you're telling me that in our cable bill, there is a fee.
There is a fee.
In order for Comcast, for public access television to be on the air.
Right, and it's a three-part, it's an entity, it's called PEG. And that stands for Public Education and Government. So we're the public part of it. Normally it's not equitable. Normally in most cities and municipalities, government and education gets most of the funding. You can tell right here in Richmond, if you were to turn your channel to 96, 98, in Richmond it might be channel 17 for the government channel, you can see the clarity of the show. You can tell the equipment that they're using. So public access here in Richmond has been neglected for years. I was surprised when I came here. I retired in 2003 and came back to Richmond. I was in Hawaii for 35 years, and I've been in access in Hawaii for 10 to 15 of those years. And we had a state-of-the-art studio there. So I was amazed when I walked into the station on the boulevard to see, you know, just that we had a room just for one person to come in if they wanted to operate, if they wanted to broadcast something just for one person. That's the size of the studio that we have here now for the city and all the counties. I couldn't believe it.
Well, you know, I think that we're hitting on something that if you say it's not a money issue, then it has to be a priority issue.
Well, I'm not saying it's not a money issue. It's just where the money is going. Because we paid the franchise fee, and if you take your time, if anybody listening would take their time to look at your cable bill and look on the back or wherever it's at, it says rights of way use fee. That fee is paid by, we pay Comcast or our providers, and they pay the city and the counties. In return, the city and the county provide public access or access stations. That's public education and government. Now, where the budget is what we're trying to find out. Where's the money for public access? Where's the funding for public access television?
Okay,
whether it's Comcast.
So somebody's got their hand in the kitty. That's what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about.
Somebody, the city may be putting their hand to supplement their budget.
Exactly.
And we're talking millions of
We're
dollars.
talking
Am I
millions of
true?
dollars because in the ordinance cable franchise in 2007, the agreement, which was just passed by the city council in 2007, where the providers had to agree to certain terms. And that, like I said, it's Verizon, Cavalier, and Comcast. They had to agree to certain terms and conditions for broadcasting over the air. And so part of that agreement, we're going to have the regulation here, but part of that agreement is, I think it's 5% of gross revenues are supposed to go to the cities and the counties for a franchise fee. And in turn, like I said, they provide facilities and equipment for us, for the public.
Well, I've personally been head of the studio. I was very honored that David Aponte from La Voz Latina was not able to do his show one day, and he called me and says, Lou, I got a personal thing, and God bless his wife that she's okay. Can you do the show? And I ran over there, and I personally did a show, co-hosting for Mr. David Aponte, and I agree with you 100% that I may not be an audio-visual guy, I may not be a video guy, but I know quality and I know good things when I see it. And you're right, it's pretty ragtag. It's not really put together, you know. You got volunteers, there are more than enough volunteers. Everybody in there is doing their best to put the shows on, but you've got equipment that's failing. You've got cameras that are antiquated. You've got a stage and a backdrop that is not up to par. It really looks terrible. You've got some individuals that go, well, it's only public access. Well, it's not only public access. It is a vital, integral part of the communication and the expansion of community information that the public needs, that our community needs. Mr. Akil, what do you got to say, man?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head. You know, public access is important, and to show you how important it is, I have people asking for videos from the public access channel in Benin.
Wow.
From Indiana.
Wow.
From different states want to see our public access shows.
Right.
You know, I sent a few out and they want more. So you can't tell me it's not important. And public access is an independent channel, you know, where you can come in, make your own shows, produce your own shows. If you don't know how to produce a show, we'll teach you. We'll teach you. This is my teacher here. Right, and really smart man. Smart man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir. And Miss Rita Moore, she's a very intelligent woman, right? And
Well, the sister comes from Brooklyn, where I'm from, so I agree with you right there.
Well, wait a minute now. I'm from Philly. I'm not going to keep throwing New York in there. You know, all right? All right. Well, Miss Moore, out of her own money, out of her own pocket, bought a carpet for the stage.
Right.
Okay, so the producers are spending money, you know, money we shouldn't have to spend.
Absolutely. Now, there was a particular caller yesterday on the producers forum, Charles, who was very, very passionate, and he was calling. Now, I'm going to tell my people, ustedes allá afuera, si no saben de lo que estoy hablando, le estoy hablando a ustedes de public access television. When it's on Verizon, it's on channel 36. When it's on Comcast, it's on channel 95. Si se quieren envolver, si quieren participar en lo que es public access television, lo único que tienen que hacer es llamar a Comcast. Y pueden poner ustedes su propio programa en el aire. Now, I've seen programs, Black American programs, White American programs, Latino American programs, Asian American programs. I've seen entertainment programs. I've seen political shows. I've seen health shows. I've seen social political shows and social economic shows that you would never see on corporate television.
Right.
You would never see this on corporate television. You know, people actually giving their opinion on how they feel what's going on. When you look at the news and you look at information that's being deciphered and being put out there by the big corporations, that is controlled information. that is controlled by the big corporations to suit their certain or their particular political agenda.
And that's one of the reasons we have the protesters all over the country now. This corporate control, you know, they already control the major media stations, but they want to control everything. They don't want us to have no independence.
I agree with you guys. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Do you want to give them some more information, how to contact, what they should do? Should they call City Hall? Should they call Verizon? Wait a minute, we got Mr. David Aponte with a question. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, I got a couple of questions, but before I go to the questions, I know what we heard about it's just public access. Imagine people traveling to 95 and they say, "What's that smell?" That's nothing but the sewer plant in 95. You know, that cannot be good enough. To me, that's not good enough. To me, it's an embarrassment to me for people to come through our city and go, "Wow, what is that smell?" Could you imagine treating public access the same way? My question is, my first one is, how long, Mr. Gardner, you been doing this on public access?
I've been doing public access here in Richmond, I guess, since 2003. And Hawaii, I guess another 15 years or so. And I've been through all the classes. But you know, it's a reward just to provide a service, feel like you're providing a service for the community. And it's also, on the other side, it's very frustrating when you don't have the equipment and you know you're capable of doing a good job.
Right.
Just don't have the equipment to do it.
And I have just two more questions, and I hang it back to Luke. You've been here since 2003.
Yes.
Okay. Name some of the people that came to the studio that now are famous in the Virginia area.
Oh, well, you know, Mayor Wilder's come through. We had a show, I produced a show, myself and Rita Moore, called Candidates in Focus. We had the city council candidates come in, and we gave them 10 minutes at a time to just tell the public what they're about. And so some of those people right now are city council.
Right.
And I can't recall all the names. I mean, Dolores McQuinn was there. Hubert, is that his name?
No, I remember.
Yeah,
Dwight
I don't know
Jones.
if he was there.
I remember seeing Tim Kaine there.
Yeah, he was there too. Not
And
on
that
my
used to
show.
be the
but-
governor of
Not
Virginia.
Tim. Tim was
Yeah,
there?
Governor Wilder's been
Whoa,
there.
watch out.
This is public access. We're talking about a small
Well,
studio.
in Hawaii, for example, I mean, the same thing. We talk about public access. I mean, I've done shows with Dick Gregory. He's been on my show before in Hawaii. And,
Wow.
and different people like that that's come through, you know. So, you know, it's a valuable service, and we need to support it. The public needs to get behind us and support it. It's alternative television.
Right, give them the number they can call.
And you can call if you're interested in volunteering. You can call 915-5201, and you might not get a call back right away, but if you don't,
Call back.
Call back. Please call back. And if you want to come down and volunteer, we'll be more than welcome, and we'd like to train you.
Well, like
on the
it's
show, come on in.
You're talking about if you want to come on down and volunteer, you students, young people, necesitamos la gente joven. We need young people to get involved with public access.
Right.
Because the changes that have been made in this country, when we're talking about social changes, when we're talking about political changes, the majority of the changes that have been made in this country have been made by young people,
That's right.
young movements. Especially like the Wall Street sit-ins right now. These are young people that are sick and tired of the status quo.
Right.
And you know what? I may not be that young, but I'm also sick and tired of the status quo. Sick and tired of the way the government is treating our people. The way the government is abusing our tax dollars.
Right.
The way the government is using the media in order to control the population in this fantastic, great country that we have here. And it is patriotic to have dissent. Benjamin Franklin said, to be a patriot is to be dissent. in order to keep change and the evolving of this great political idea that we call the United States of America. So all of you young people, you want to get involved, you want to put a TV show together, you want to say your piece, all you older people that want to give a piece of your mind for the rest of the population to understand where you're going, what you're thinking about, come on down to Comcast, put your name on the list, and you'll get your time on the air, ladies and gentlemen. You're speaking to the voice of Latin jazz, Sweet Louis Hidalgo, with my special guest, Mr. Andueli Gardner and Mr. Akil Muhammad. God bless you guys. You want some final words? Let the people know what they have to do and how they get their message across to the city government and city council, please.
Well, in unity, there is strength. We can't do it alone. So if you're interested, if you're concerned, call Comcast, call Verizon, and tell them that your tax dollars are not being used the way you think they should be. Call them. You know, once this is gone, it's gone. You know, and this station is very important. It's your station. You know, so call, spread the word, Facebook, email, spread the word.
And there's an African proverb that says, if lions had historians, then hunters would cease to be heroes. So we're going to continue to let the hunter tell his tale. Come on down and tell yours.
Right.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a public access commercial and information segment brought to you none other than by the Latin Jazz Show, WCLM Radio, 1450 on your AM dial, with yours truly, the voice of Latin Jazz, Sweet Louis Hidalgo, and my main man, El Guido Miguelito Lebrón, trayéndole la mejor de la música latina y la salsa here on WCLM Radio. Willie Don Pepín de la Salsa in the house!
That was very interesting. You gentlemen put your points right out to be heard. I, for one, I watch the shows up in New York, Channel 21 and the public access channels, and they're very informative for the community. You know, like you guys said, there's things that the main stations don't want to put out that they will put out. You know, I mean, I've seen a great historical piece on my island of Puerto Rico, which I would never see on ABC, NBC, or Fox.
Right.
All right?
Right.
On public access television. That's where you see it. I see stuff on the Temptations, the Miracles, you know, all the time. In New York, they're showing all these concerts, all this stuff, and it's for the community. And you don't see that on regular TV.
Willie, you hit it right on the head. Where do you get this information on the radio? There is no other station like this radio station, near this radio station, only here on WCLM Radio.
1450 AM.
There you go. The station where we don't speak English.
Si no hablamos inglés, no hablamos español.
We speak Spanglish. Empiézalo, Willie.
Música, maestro, por favor. Gentlemen.
Thank you, brother. All right.